A lot of organizations are turning to SharePoint now, and if they are, yours might ask you to be a site owner when you least expect it. We call that being an accidental site owner. If that's the case, then you'll need to know these 3 important tips before you start so that you can get up and running really fast. The first is, what kind of artifacts is your team going to store in SharePoint? For example, if it's Word, PowerPoint, Excel, PDFs, things like that, then you're going to need an app, short for application, called Library. And this is the place where you would store those kinds of artifacts. If you're going to store things like a task list or a contact list or some other kind of a list, then you would use an app called List. It's like having an always open Excel spreadsheet. If you're going to store just photos, then you would need a photo library. So it's important to know the kinds of artifacts that you need and know that there's probably an app for that. Now, the second thing that you'll want to know is permissions. Who should have access to the library or to the site? And for example, if you're an HR site, you might be for the entire company, or it may be an HR team site that's just for your own team, so you don't want anybody else seeing those artifacts. In that case, you will want to change the permissions. There is a gear next to your name, and that gear is very important. When you click it, you're going to see an option in there for site settings. When you click Site Settings, you're going to see a whole world of options. One of them is permissions. And you can choose who should have access to your site. There's 3 levels of permission. The site owner, that would be you. The site member, and that would be anybody that will be adding documents to the site. And then there'll be site visitors, and that could be people who just have read-only access. If you've decided that you want to have a library with permissions that are different from the site, you can do that. Just click on the library and then go up to your ribbon and you'll find a gear there. And that will give you the ability to change the site settings just for that one app. And the third thing that you need to know is how to navigate within the SharePoint site. You have the option of showing all the apps that you want on the side. I call it side navigation, over on the left side. However, they may not show up by default. You can add them by, again, going to the gear next to your name, choosing Site Settings, and this time choose Navigation. And you can choose which apps people will have the ability to click on to navigate to. You can also have people navigate to sites off SharePoint. For example, you could have them go to your corporate website or some other website that they might need, in addition to all the other sites within SharePoint. So if you keep those 3 tips in mind, you need to know the artifacts and the apps that you'd want to put in your site, and then you want to know who should have permission to that site, and finally, how are they going to navigate within the site. If you have a handle on that, you've got a really good start on creating your site.